Guys over here, you need to show respect. Thank you. Please be respectful to our guest, Mr. Khan, today as he is talking. We have a lot of things going on today, and I know Mr. Khan has great words for you all. All right, Mr. Khan.
Hey, I think you're fantastic. I don't think you're perfect. I'm not perfect either. All right, I'll do this real quick. I don't think you're perfect, but I'm not perfect either. That's the wrong goal. But I want you to know that I'm for you. Like, that's why I'm here. This is why I'm back with you again today, because I'm for you. And I think a lot of times we don't think about that. We don't think about people who are for us. And the reason why is because sometimes we're not even really sure what that means, and we're not sure really how to be for ourselves. A lot of times we are always talking to ourselves. Like right now, you're not supposed to be talking to anybody. But the only person that's talking to you right now is you. And you may not be choosing what you're saying. Maybe you're just continuing the conversation that you had before this started. The thing that you were saying to yourself before we got going. Or maybe the thing that you're frustrated about yourself. Or maybe because of the way that the air is, the way that it's done something to your hair that you didn't intend. Like maybe that's the thing that you keep talking about. Maybe the thing that you keep talking about to yourself is something that's just not really helpful. And you and I are not that different. When you look in the mirror, you don't see your highlight reel. You see ways maybe where you messed up or you let somebody down. Maybe ways where you didn't quite do the thing as well as you wanted to do it. And that doesn't make you weird or creepy. It just makes you human. But because nobody only thinks about the things that they're doing good. And here's the thing that really it's the most difficult person for you to control is the person in the mirror. Because you're not kind to the person in the mirror. You say things to the person in the mirror that you would never say to another human. You would never say to one of your friends. Because if you did say those things to your friends, they would stop being your friends. And so one of the things, since I was here last month, man, I've been thinking about this a lot, and what could I say with another 20 minutes with you guys? Like, what would be something I could say that would be helpful? What would be something that I could say that might be encouraging to you? What would be something that maybe you didn't anticipate hearing that would help you? And I think you're fantastic. I say this every time I come here. I think you're fantastic. I don't think you're perfect, but I'm not perfect either. That's the wrong goal. No matter who you are, what we do a lot of times is we take this thing that's not our best work, this thing that's not the thing that we do best, our dip, and then we do something that makes absolutely no sense. We go to social media and we compare our dip to everybody else's highlight reels. Nobody puts pictures of burnt brownies on Instagram. What we do is we put what we want people to see, what we want people to cheer us on for, what we want people to clap for us for. That's what we put on social media. And the thing about that is, for you, one of the reasons that when a guy like me from the community who comes in and says, hey, I'm for you, one of the reasons that may be a little bit weird for you is because you constantly hear how kids these days, and then it's not good. You hear how kids these days are not thoughtful, they're selfish, they're always on their phone, they're not respectful. Everything that you hear, it's kind of like you hear it with someone saying it to you with angry eyebrows and pointing their finger in your face. And that's not completely true. It's also not 0% true. It's not completely true about myself, but it's not 0% true about myself. And you and I, whenever we take this idea that we think about, and we just think about it over and over and over and over and over again, it messes with the way that we receive information from people. So when you have people like your teachers and your principals that are here, and they say, hey, I'm for you, and they're making sure that you're sitting in the right seat, in the right section, and all that stuff, and it sounds like they're getting on to you. It's not they're getting on to you, but the way that you project it out is because you are constantly thinking about something that you do that's not quite good enough. And I think that's something that for you and for me, we've constantly got to work on. That's why I went and bought this giant mirror. I mean, the hardest person for you to control is the person in the mirror. And what happens is someone will say something to you that you won't, it won't be really a slam or a put down, but it also won't be a compliment. And you'll take it as a negative thing. And then it's not just that one statement, then it's everything else that everyone else says to you for that day. That happened to me on Sunday afternoon. I was in a group text with two of my friends, and one of them was looking for something. And they said, well, the last time I saw it, Mike got it several months ago. And you know what I said? Nothing. I didn't even respond in the text. But I had a lot to say in my mind. Several months, really? And I started going negative. I started going with all the reasons why this thing that he said that wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't like an angry thing. But for me, internally, it was something that I could only hear this person, who's a good friend of mine, I could only hear him saying it in a negative context. Because what happens is you and I look in the mirror, and then we keep saying the same things, or we keep messing up, doing the same thing over and over again. We keep messing it up, and then you and I will have this same kind of dialogue in our minds. Whenever you do the same thing over and over again that's not good, if you've ever thought, oh, come on, here we go again. If you ever thought that before, raise your hand. Because you messed up and you thought, oh, here we go again. Okay, good, hands down. If you ever thought, are you ever going to get this right? If you ever thought that to yourself, raise your hand. Yeah, you and I are not that different. If you ever thought, well, you're just going to constantly, they already think you're in trouble, so you might as well get in trouble. If you ever thought that, raise your hand. Listen, that's not a them thing, that's a you thing. That's not a them thing, that's a me thing. Because sometimes we project this thing that we think they're already mad at us, or they're already trying to get me in trouble, so I might as well give them what they want. Hey, listen, nobody wants you to be in trouble. That's true here, and I think for most of us, that's true at home too. But here's what I know is true. People who don't feel needed do things they wouldn't normally do to get noticed. And when you think over and over and over and over again that you're not going to get it right, or it's not going to be as good as you want it to be again, you're still not going to get it the way you want it to be again, you're going to feel like the good that you can do is just really not even average, it's just not really that good anymore. And then when someone like me comes in and says, hey, everybody can do good, nobody can do the good you can do the way you can do it, you'll just kind of roll your eyes and be like, yeah, whatever. I can't do good. Everybody can do good. I don't do good anymore. Maybe I used to do good, but I can't do good now. Maybe it's because you got in trouble for the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. You think, well, I mean, this is just still going to be how it happens. And you think it's a cycle that can't be broken. Or maybe you look at your family and see some of the choices that people who live in your house have made, and you're like, man, I'm never going to get any better. This is what we do. Look around. This is how it is. And you always go negative. You think, I can't get past it. I can't get better than it. So then you start to sound like Eeyore. Well, I guess this is just how it's going to be. And then when you look in the mirror, you kind of be like, really? And you wonder, is there ever really any good that I can do? And then you think, well, I can't keep getting noticed. I keep not getting noticed, at least not for doing anything good. And that's how sometimes, when you're at a football game on Friday night, at the top of the bleachers, you'll say things you wouldn't normally say if teachers were around. Or if your mom or dad ever takes care of you around. Or even when you're walking into an assembly, like this, about 12 minutes ago. and you say things that you would never normally say, but you're trying to get noticed, or you're trying to get a little extra attention. It happens for you, it happens for grown-ups, like it happens on social media all the time. It happens on Facebook and on Instagram. Man, it was one of those days, and it's kind of like we're just waiting on somebody to say, well, Mike, please tell me, how bad was your day? Well, I don't really want to get into it. Because it was so bad. It was just another one of those days. Hey, listen, you and I are not that different. But also, you and I are not that different. You have lots of good to bring. I have some good to bring too, but sometimes I talk myself out of it. Because I think the good that it's going to be, it's not ever going to be as good as I want it to be. So kind of what's the point? People who don't feel need to do things they wouldn't normally do to get noticed. And when I was your age, I started doing some things that I wouldn't normally do to try to get noticed by a certain group of folks. I said things I wouldn't normally say about people to other people. That didn't work out well for me. I tried to impress people that I didn't really like. I didn't really know them, but I knew that they were pretty popular. And so if I could get in with them, oh, this would be great. And then I stopped being myself, and I started trying to do some stuff because I thought other people wanted me to do it. Because I didn't feel needed. People don't feel needed to do things they wouldn't normally do to get noticed. And the worst part about that is that you keep saying on loop over and over and over and over and over and over and over in your mind about how this thing is not even really going to be that good. So, like, why should I give my best? And then your mom or dad, whoever takes care of you, they try to reward you for something good because Leadership 101 is what gets rewarded gets repeated. And sometimes people will see you doing something good and they'll try to reward it. So you'll do the same thing or maybe even try to believe in yourself a little bit more. But the hard part is you're already thinking that it's not good enough. You're thinking that the good that you got rewarded for is not good enough. And so you don't think that you're going to be able to do better. You think it's just going to be the same way that it has been. But what I'm saying to you is sometimes you and I are our own worst enemy. And you talk yourself out of doing good before you even try. And we have these circumstances that happen around us that affect us and make it bad. We have these distractions that make it bad. And we don't have a way to tune it out. So what we do is we just beat ourselves up because the thing we did wasn't as good as what we wanted it to be. That just makes you human. Some of you know, I told a group earlier, some of you know that I'm a tap dancer. Yeah, that's not a joke. I'm a tap dancer. Last year, I paid money to take tap dance lessons. Not only did I pay money, like if you don't do it now, but whenever you get to YouTube and you search Mike Conn tap dancing, you'll find this video of me doing a tap dance duet with a friend of mine, and she was dressed up like Jovi the Elf from the movie Elf, right? And I was dressed up in an elf, kind of an elf costume as well, right? And I started doing this thing that I wanted to do for a long time. I wanted to tap dance for a long time, which is kind of a funny thing to say. Not a lot of people have that dream in life, but I wanted to tap dance for 24 years before I took my first tap dance lesson. And the reason why I didn't is because I was afraid of what other people would say. Do you know what they would say about a retired college football playing tap dancer? I do. And it wouldn't be good. So for a long time, for over 2 decades, this thing that I wanted to do that wasn't illegal, it wasn't bad, nobody knew that, for most of that time, nobody even knew that I wanted to do it. You know why? Because of all the negative voices in my head says, hey Mike, you can't tell people that. They'll stop listening. They'll stop inviting. Your business will suffer. You're going to tell your wife you want to be a tap dancer? I mean, good luck with that. Like, there's all these, you want to tell your kids you want to be a tap dancer? Good luck with that. All these things that I was thinking negatively, they kept me from doing this thing that I really enjoyed doing. And I didn't know I would enjoy doing it. And nobody made me, nobody forced me to do it. So the first day I took my tap lessons, like I turned off my locations so nobody would know where I was. Because even still, I was afraid of what people would say. Now, what you may want to do is, maybe it's not tap dancing. But maybe there's something that you want to do that's nice, that's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. You want to do that, you want to try it, but you know the things that people will say because you've heard what they said about other people. If people will say something bad to you about someone else, they'll say something bad to someone else about you. You know that. And so, if you've ever said something bad about somebody else, please raise your hand. Thank you for telling the truth. Yeah. So you know this is true. Hands down, thank you. You know this is true, and sometimes the good that you want to do, you don't do it. And you talk yourself out of doing good. And what happens when you talk yourself out of doing good is the people of Duncan Middle School, the people of our community, they miss out on some of the great things that you bring. Now, I'm not saying you should take up tap dancing, or you should take up knitting, or you should take up anything. I'm not saying that. But here's what I'm saying. The thing that kept me from doing this, from pursuing that for a long, long time, is the very same thing that keeps you from doing some of the good that you're built to do. Maybe it's drawing. Maybe it's coloring. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's singing. Maybe it is dancing. Maybe it's being super organized, but you take it a little too far, and instead of just being super organized, you're super organized and a little bossy. Maybe that's the deal. What I'm saying to you is you have some strengths that other people can do some of those same things, but the truth is, everybody can do good, but nobody can do the good you can do the way you can do it. So I want you to look at somebody and I want you to say, everybody can do good. Don't yell at them, just look at them. One more time, everybody can do good. Nobody can do the good you can do the way you can do it. One more time, nobody can do the good you can do the way you do it. All right, I've got one more thing. I've got one more thing. Here's what I want you to know. Some of you learned this in 2nd grade and 3rd grade. Some of you are still learning it now. I'm a dad and I'm still learning it. I'm a husband and I'm still learning it. I'm a business owner and I'm still learning it. Because sometimes you will look in the mirror and you will want to hope and believe something good. You will want to believe the thing that you can do good. You will want to believe that it's going to matter and it's going to make a difference. But then the thoughts that you have will tell you otherwise. The thoughts that you have will tell you it's not going to be better. It's not going to be good. I'm still going to get in trouble. It's still not going to go well. And this is what I want you to start to learn, and I hope that you start to believe. This good that you can do matters. The message for you today is you matter. That's why I'm here. I'm for you, yes, and I want you to help. I want to help you stop thinking of all the ways that the good that you can do is not really good. I want to help you stop talking yourself out of doing something that's really good. I want to help you stop talking bad about someone else who's trying to do good. Because we know Steve Jobs invented the first computer. He invented the first computer in his garage, the first Apple computer in his garage the year I was born. But he never dreamed that we would have 1,000 songs walking around in our pocket with an iPhone. But he kept taking the next right step and the next right step. And I know he had some doubts, but he kept taking the next right step. And Martin Luther King Jr., we know he had a dream, but I wonder when his dream started. We know that he lived for his dream, and we know he ultimately died for his dream. And I wonder what every person who's ever been president of the United States, at some point they had to think, the king, the leader of the free world, oh, absolutely, I want to do that. I wonder when they had that idea. And I know with those big dreams always comes some doubt. And you're going to have courage. But here's what I really wonder. I wonder in the year 2032, 10 years from now, I wonder what good you're going to be doing. I wonder what your life is going to be leading and living and shining. And here's what I know is true. You have some great things to offer. You have some great ways to do good. And it's not an all or nothing. It's not a switch where you can turn on the switch of making good choices, where you only make good choices, or when you only all make bad choices. It's a dial that you turn up, kind of like on those lights where you can turn it down a little bit and turn it back up a little bit. And what I want you to know today is that you matter. I'm for you. So is everyone who works here. And you can control what you think about what you think about. You can control the way you talk to yourself. And you and I both need to work on getting better at that. Alright? So I want you to repeat after me. Mr. Mike? I'll try again. Mr. Mike? I promise I will do better to be kinder to the person in the mirror, and my classmates, and my teachers, and my principals. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Kahn. Hold on, guys. 6th grade over here, you can go. 7th grade on this section, you can go.